agree. Let it happen. Mary answered the angel and said, I believe this promise
Joe
will
preaching.
come to
He's
pass.
a joke.
I'm in agreement, but I do have one question. How is this going to happen?
He's just a
You may
joke.
have a how in your life right now. In other words, I believe I'm going to accomplish my dreams, Joel, but how am I going to do it? How am I going to get well? How am
Everybody
I going to
wants to
overcome
accomplish
this
their own
addiction?
dreams. What about
But
doing the will of
angel
the
said to
Father?
Mary, I believe God is saying to each one of us. He said, Mary, here's how it's going to happen. The power of the Most High is going to come upon you. In other words, God's going to breathe in your direction and supernatural things are going to happen. How are you going to get well? The power of the Most High.
I thought Jesus said,
is
not
going to
my
breathe
will,
health
but thy
and
will
healing
be
into your
done.
body. How are you
Joe
going
was
to accomplish
preaching
your
a
dream?
gospel
It
of
looks impossible.
man's own
No, the
will
Most
and not the
High,
will of the Father.
The great I am, the creator of the universe, is going to breathe his favor. When God breathes on your life, supernatural opportunities will come your way. You will get breaks that you didn't deserve. Family members that were off course.
The Lord already
will suddenly
breathed in a
turn
man's
around.
life. You just need to
Problems
go
that
and
look
repent.
permanent will turn out only to be temporary. What happened? The power of the Most High came upon you. But like Mary, you've got to do your part and say, God, if you say it will happen, then I will believe it will happen. God, if you say I'm highly favored, then I'm not going to drag through life defeated like a weak worm of the dust. I'm going to put my shoulders back. I'm going to hold my head up high and act like I'm highly favored. God, if you say, as for me and my house, we can serve the Lord, then I'm going to believe, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. It may not look like it. All the odds may be against you. Your mind is telling you, forget it. That's just wishful thinking, never going to happen.
It is wishful
Don't talk
thinking.
yourself out of it. Don't consider your circumstances. Consider
You can't
your
preach a
God.
happy-go-lucky
He is
gospel.
all-powerful. One touch of his favor can turn any situation around. It may look like it's too far gone.
You're always
but
preaching
it's not
sweet
over
things
until God
and
says
beautiful
it's over.
things.
He always
What about the
has
reality of
final say.
life?
One time Jesus
What about
was on the beach and
the
he saw all
destruction of
these
the
men
world? What about the
putting away
things that
their
are going
fishing
on in
nets.
this life?
They had been
That's
out
not
fishing
right. What
all
about
night.
America
He went
and
up to
the
them
darkness
asked
and the
if he could borrow
racism
their boat so
that's
he could
going
push
on in
away
the
from
earth
shore
today?
and teach the large crowds of people that have gathered. They had never met before, but they allowed Jesus to borrow the boat. When he got finished, as a way to thank them, Jesus told them to launch out into the deep, and they would catch a great number of fish. These men began to reason in their mind. They thought, this man is a teacher. We are professional fishermen, and here he's telling us how and when to fish. Doesn't he know this is how we make our living? We've been doing this for many years.
Yes, Joe, you make
We
your
are
living off of
experts in our field.
getting
we know when
our
the
tithes
fish
and
bite
offerings.
and when the fish don't bite. And
Yes, you
now
know when
is
people
not
give
the
and
time
when they
to
don't
fish.
give.
Nothing is biting. Friends, do you realize sometimes you can know too much? Sometimes our own intellect can keep us from God's best. I had a lady tell me last week, Joel, you were talking about your friend that overcame cancer 3 times, but the kind of cancer I have is very rare. It's less than 1% of all the cancers. There's no good treatment for it. The life expectancy is only this long, and on and on. She told me all the details of why she couldn't get well, and story after story of people that didn't make it, and how there was no medicine that could possibly treat that type of cancer. When she got finished, she had convinced me. I was depressed too. I wanted to go home and go to bed. I had been singing, I am a friend of God. Now I was singing, you picked a fine time to leave me, Lucille. What's her problem? She knows too much. She has analyzed it and reanalyzed it and studied it and researched it and thought about it. No wonder she can't have any faith. And I know it's good to have information. I'm not saying to hide our head in the sand, but at some point you've got to say, I'm not going to allow any more doubt and unbelief to come into my mind. Yes, I want to know the facts, but I do not need to know every detail of why I'm not going to get well, or why I'm not going to get out of debt, or why I'm not going to accomplish my dreams. Sometimes you just have to turn your mind off. If you listen to some of the experts on the economy long enough,
Boy, if you turn
they'll
your
talk
mind
you into
off
going
and
under.
can't think for yourself,
talk
then
you
you
into living
brainwashed
a
by
defeated
Joe
life.
Osteen.
Like this guy I heard about. He
Let's
was
start putting
standing
on your
the
thinking
side
caps.
of a bridge about to jump. So discouraged, so depressed, he's going to end it all. This man came up and said, don't jump, I want to help